Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at an Amulet Haven deck. This Amulet Haven deck has piqued my interest slightly just because it is running Heresy's avatar, and you don't see that too often, especially in a rotation format. So this thing literally runs just that one follower, well technically two because you're running two of it, but everything else in this entire deck is just amulets. Just amulets out your ass, literally. Everywhere that you can imagine, you have amulets. This deck piqued my interest for that reason. Unfortunately, the footage I'll show you guys, I didn't get to quite play Tarnished Grail, which I really wanted to play, but we do get some pretty cool stuff going off, and I really enjoy that, so we'll get right into the video and check it out. So, here we go. First up on our list of victims is Luna. Luna, poor little Luna.
He's fighting in despair.
About to get wrecked by the big old bad Havencraft.
Father, come on!
So Summon Pegasus is a pretty okay start. I mean, it's not bad just to have that go out on one when you don't have any other options in your hand, and when you've got two other 2-drops that you can follow up with, then may as well go that route to begin with. And now with Red Hot Boots, we've actually got 3, so just slightly better. Of course, against most crafts, this is a really difficult deck. I did find this deck to be very hit or miss. You either have a really good game where your hands can go nuts, or you just brick out the wazoo and you could build a whole house with it. But really not worried about things like Belinus. We clear those off pretty easy. We can stack our board with amulets because every single one is countdown. As long as we usually leave one space free, we can be pretty safe. Unless we know amulets are going to proc the following turn, where we can actually take advantage of them. So another Belinus, not really presenting much of a problem at this point. But we do get Feathered Hourglass, which is pretty reasonable to use as a Belinus trade, just to remove it from the board and hopefully leave this 3-4 up at this point. Especially since Pegasus should proc next turn. I have considered Dullahan in this deck, and I think that might be an interesting idea. But this is kind of the original deck list that was there, so I thought we'll play the original and see how it goes first. And it's definitely an interesting concept, and I can't wait to see what the new cards bring to the table, especially some of the newer Jade Haven type cards that are basically like the Hearthstone Jade set that has similar sort of effect lines, so I can't wait to mess around with those. So Tin Soldier is a perfect way to clear the Ceres without really losing anything, although I do usually like using those to ping base. It's not so bad when you have to use them this way. Also, the massive fact that we're going to have 2 of these cards proc is going to be great, because it does clear up a little board space for us to work with, and at the same time it gets us some value. So we get these snakes, which are great, especially since we have Avatar now too, so we can actually pretty much take advantage of this nicely. Snakes are an immediate threat that need to be answered. And Catacomb is a pretty good way to go about it.
Want to play?
I mean, if you're going to go any direction, I think playing Catacomb now was the kind of way to go, especially when you're going into turn 7 next turn, so I think the opponent made the right choice. The only downfall for them is that they literally are losing both these skeletons very, very quickly, and I can quite easily just drop my Avatar here and not need to worry about it. Considering Shadow doesn't really have any banish, that's the only real weakness this deck has, is that you don't want your Avatar banished. It's also nice to play. I never really got a chance to take advantage of this card, and I'm really glad that this deck at least gives it a shot. So we do see the trades on the Banes. That's the most likely situation that was going to happen anyway, and this Demon Lord is going to at least trade with the Avatar, which is perfect, because now everything else will be instantly proc. The only problem I have with this deck is the awkwardness for the enhancers that usually proc cards anyway, so normally I want to avoid that and get them for their minimum value, not their maximum value. In which case, something like Tribunal's great, especially if we hit that Vector, which we did. Even if we hadn't, it still could have been okay, but I think due to the fact of how that was going to go ordered, I think the only possibility would have been to hit the Catacomb and then hit the Skeleton as an instant follow-up. That would have been the only bad move, and honestly, the odds are in our favour to hit the Hector at that point. So something like Pure Annihilation is great. It's one of the few spells you run in this deck. Removing those Thanes super effectively. And again, I get to just kind of throw out everything I could possibly need. So we can easily remove this
The real battle
and get a little bit of damage to face while we're in the process. Tin Soldier is usually your best thing to evolve in this deck, at least from what I've noticed, excluding something you can get out of Grail, which I really wish I had gotten this match, because Grail would have been an amazing play. So they're looking to clear off something. Tin Soldier's a pretty good target, but that's not really going to help them at this point. They really need to remove this 5-3 if they want to have a substantial board against me. You get Star Torrent, which is pretty good, but not very useful now. Our opponent does end up conceding, obviously realizing that I now have amazing value going forward, so not too surprising. So I think these next couple of games are just a little bit quicker. So this one is Blood. Blood shows itself as still a pretty strong deck, regardless of it lacking in this expansion so far. I'm sure next expansion, with all the Blood support we've seen, with bats and stuff again, is going to be absolutely amazing. And of course, we get a nice Featherfall Hourglass. Turn 1 play on it is always a good advantage against an aggro type deck. Now we get a chance to nicely set up the Beastly Vow. I mean, they're going to go really well with Star Torrent next turn. Would have been even nicer if they had went for another Bahamut or something. But this still isn't half bad. I mean, we get the Tiger as a 4-4, which is really hard to deal with super early. And Belf actually sets them to 10, and since they have no evolve, they're not removing this Tiger immediately, and I pretty much get a free 6 damage to their face at this point. And with Tribunal draw off the top, being able to remove this Belf is perfect. I honestly couldn't have asked for a better hand against this Blood player, and them playing Belf was just a massive mistake when I already had Tiger on board. So they do end up having a way to remove this, although it does cost them 2 cards. And they do set up the Duke, but whether it's enough or not is really lacking. Especially since I do follow up with this March's Tea Time and an Evolve, which can deal the 3 damage to their face. So now they really want some healing. And with a second March's Tea Time, we can pretty much secure victory, which is what I was banking on. The fact is, they don't know I have another March's Tea Time. They can probably guess, but it's not a very reliable guess, that's for sure. So they're really banking on the fact that I have nothing.
I'll show you power.
So all the eggs just kind of fell into place with this one. Getting everything perfectly. So, March has tea time. Perfect amount to clean this Blood's house.
Let us conclude.
This deck is definitely an interesting one, and I recommend that you check it out. As always, I will have that deck list in the description below if you do want to check this out. And now the final one is against Dragon. Dragon's a little more interesting just because they do tend to draw out games a little more against this deck. But at the same time, they don't really have any natural amulet counters anymore, and even if they did, this deck in particular would still do pretty well due to the fact that even though Bahamut could clear the amulets would then just proc anyway. Back before the Bahamut nerf. Or, I prefer to call it a change, but people still try and stand by the term nerf, so.
Gobby's feeling hungry.
Turn 1 Goblin, okay, not surprising. Red Hot Boots deals with that basically immediately. And with what we have, we can easily set up God Scale and Feather to go next turn.
It's mealtime.
And not really concerned about a 1-1. So Star Torrent's going to be our kind of big play next turn. Especially if we go with something like maybe Summon Pegasus first. It really does present some value then. So we can get a full board clear here thanks to Boots. Ooh, Globe. Globe and Pegasus. Globe is definitely probably the better of the two to go this turn. There we go. 4 amulets all hit by Star Torrent. 2 of which will proc next turn.
Snacks, check. Harness, check.
So that's a little bit of a problem because it can't be attacked. Luckily something like Tribunal is absolutely ideal for dealing with it. So we actually already have the perfect answer. While at the same time, we've built our board up, presented something that's more difficult for them to deal with, and something like Dragon Summoner just isn't going to really help.
Prepare your
Dragon Scythe though is a little bit better.
Cowards, weaklings!
Is this as far as I...
But clearly they don't think it's enough, and give up pretty quickly. So the great part about this deck is the fact that you just get to really show off the power of some of these amulets, especially when mixing them with Star Torrents. I mean, you can't go wrong with some beautiful cards like Star Torrent and even Boots that just have some amazing animated cards, and they're not reasonably hard to get, but they're great. So if you are interested in playing this deck, as always, deck list will be in the description below. You've got to give Heresy Avatar some love sometimes, so please do at least give it a shot if you've got the cards to make it. Of course, I don't recommend making this if you don't already have the cards or are looking into the deck to play anyway, because it's just probably not worth it overall. But hope you guys did enjoy it. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.